Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We'll be starting in a moment. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We'll be starting in a moment.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's start with words of welcome. Hine ma tov. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom all. It is cold in the sanctuary.
Very.
I hope the goal though of Shabbat, the goal of prayer, the goal of community, the goal of singing, the goal of seeing each other, even if we're an ocean apart from each other, is to get warmer, to be warmed by each other's presence. And we're warmed when we're in the presence of wonderful people who think really hard and make a difference in people's lives, particularly lives of young people. The work of helping young people think about, oh, what's the next step in my life? How do I take my next step? It's so overwhelming. I don't have a clue. Am I going to be in my bedroom on campus and never leaving it? What's the state of the pandemic going to mean? So many questions. What does it all matter? Anyway, Jill and Amanda, those are those kinds of questions I'm sure you see regularly with the young people with whom you're working. And we look forward to hearing from the two of you in a little while. At this moment, though, let's turn to page 70 as we begin our service, Hine Matov. Or page 74, Matovu, forgive me. We just did.
Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Va'ani berov chastecha, ahavo vetecha, Eshtacha ve'el heichal kodshecha, ve'yiratecha, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha umekom mishkan kevodecha mishkan kvodecha va'ani eshtachaveh ve'echra evrecha lifnei Adonai osi Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Va'ani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov chasdecha, Elohim berov chasdecha, Aneni be'emet ishecha, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael, Mishkanotecha Yisrael.
From Matovu to Eloheinu Shema, prayer for our soul, page 78.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi.
On page 79 at the bottom, my soul came to me pure, drawn from the reservoir of the holy. All the time it remains within me. I am thankful for its thirst for compassion and justice. Let my eyes behold the beauty of all creatures. Let my hands know the privilege of righteous deeds.
Baruch atah Adonai asher beyado nefesh kol chai veruach kol basari.
God, I love that melody. I love that melody. Thank you, Cancer Adam. Page 80, we offer our series of miracles. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Feel the miracle. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Yes, that's a miracle.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'yaif koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ha'ma'avir sheina me'enai, u'tnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen, amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen 86. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu, la'asok b'divrei Torah. On page 88, let's offer this little piece of Torah from the Mishnah 1800 years ago, having just offered the blessing to study Torah, and for some of us, having just finished Torah study a few minutes ago. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of in this world, while the principle remains in the Olam Haba, the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We turn now to page 94. Baruch She'amar.
Baruch she'amar v'haya olam, Baruch hu, Baruch hu Bereshit, Baruch omer ve'yoseh, Baruch gozer u'mkayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov l'reyav, Baruch chai la'ad v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch podehu matzil, Baruch Shemo, Bishvachot vezimrot nagad lecha, unshabechecha unfarecha v'nazkir, Shimcha v'namlicha malkenu Eloheinu, Yachid chei haolamim, Melech meshubach umfohar, Hadei Shemo hagadol, Baruch atah Adonai, Melech mechulal batishbachot.
Mizmor Shir Liyom Shabbat, Psalm 92, on page 96.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשר ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפעלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מיורם כה מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה אמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון ישגה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד גנובון בשיבה, דשנים ורננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי, ולא עוולת בו.
We turn to page 97 for this acrostic poem prayer that tries to go from Aleph to Taf, A to Z, in all the ways that we can feel grateful. Top of 97. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha od yalalucha salam.
אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו.
Tehillah LeDavid, Amimcha Eloi HaMelech, V'avarcha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
בכל יום אברכך, ואהללה שמך לעולם ועד.
Gadol Adonai Mulal Meod, V'li Gulato Ein Cheker.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורתך יגידו.
Hadar Kevodotecha, V'divrei Nivlotecha Asicha.
ועזוז נרותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך אספרנה.
Zecher Av Tuvcha Yabiu, V'tzidkotecha Yiranenu.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדל חסד.
Tov Adonai Lakol, V'rachamav Al Kol Ma'asav.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
Kevod malchutecha yomeru, gvuratecha yidaberu. 98.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד הדר מלכותו.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umimshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
Einei chol elecha yisaberu, v'yatanoten lahem et ochlam b'ito.
פותח את ידיך ומצביע לכל חי רצון.
Tzadik Adonai b'chol drachav, v'chasid b'chol masav.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראוהו וימת.
Ritzon Yireh Yaseh, Yet Shabbatam Yishma v'Yoshiem.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
Tehilat Adonai Yedaber Piv, Yivarech Kol Basar, Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed.
ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
Page 100, Psalm 150.
Hallelujah. 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 כל הנשמה תהלל יה. כל הנשמה תהלל יה. Hallelujah, בקודשו, Hallelujah, ברכיהו זו, Hallelujah, בגבורותיו, Hallelujah, קרובו לו, כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, 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 בתקע שופר, Hallelujah, בנבל וכינור, Hallelujah, בטוף ומחול, Hallelujah, בניל ועוגב, כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, 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 בצלצלי שמה, Hallelujah, בצלצלי תרועה, כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, 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 כל הנשמה תהלל יה, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
Kol haneshama tehalel ya, let every single soul, or maybe even let every breath of every single soul praise the source of life and breath and hope and love and goodness and aspiration. That's the last sentence we just read of Psalm 150, and it's the first line that Cantor Adam will lead us in on 101, page 101. Nishmat kol chai, the breath of all life, may it bless your name. The your name is the name of your loved one and loved ones. Your name is the name of those who've given you life. And of course, the name includes God's name as well. Page 101, Nishmat Kol Chai.
נשמת כל חי תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו 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 We're on page 104. האל בתעצמאות עוזך, הגדול בכבוד שמך, הגיבור לנצח והנורא בנורותיך, המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא. שוכנת מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לשערים נאווה תהילה בפי שערים תתהלל ודברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תקדש ובמקהלות רביבות עמך בית ישראל ברינה יפר שמך מלכנו בכל שוכנת מהרום וקדוש שמו. ישתבח שמך
105.
ליד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ, כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו. שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה נצח, גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והוראות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה. מלך אל חי העולמים. Page 106. יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברך ירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון וביומי חון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
Page 108, 108 Baruch Hu. If you'd like to rise, please do so.
Lai, 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 lai,
Page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. אמהי נאמץ וננעים עליה ברחמתו, מחדש בכל יום תמיד, מעשה בראשית. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Can we turn to Rabbi Tara? Hello, dear Tara.
Hi, everyone. So we're on turning to page 112. It's a blessing to be here with you from Jerusalem, where the sun is beginning to set and it's starting to get cool. We've arrived at this prayer, Ahava Rabbah, which speaks about a great, great love. And if our tradition looks for a clue as to where we're going to find that great love, we find it in Torah. That's what this prayer is all about, a love that is transferred through Torah. And this is a morning that is all about learning, right? That's the theme of our speaker, our learning journey that goes on through our life. And learning and love in the Jewish mind are intertwined. This prayer speaks of a learning that is transferred through trust and faith and grace, a learning that is transferred down through the generations. So how perfect to have a mother and daughter presenting. And then it moves into an image of all of us being gathered together from the four corners of the earth in Jerusalem. So what a miracle that I can be here to introduce this prayer from that very place, spanning geography and generations. Ahava Rabbah, Ron 112.
Ahava Rabbah Havzanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola V'Tera, Chamalta Aleinu, Ba'avor Avoteinu, Ve'imoteinu, Shebachnu B'cha, V'atlamdem Chukei Chayim, Ken Techonenu V'lamdenu, V'tlamdenu, Hamrachem Rachem Aleinu, V'tein Belibeinu, Lehavin Ulaskir, Lishmoa Leilmor, Ulamed Lishmor, Vela'asot Ulkayim, Et Kol Divrei Talmud Toratecha Be'ahava Ve'hareinu B'Toratecha V'davek libeinu B'mitzvotecha Ve'yached levaveinu Ve'ahava U'yira et shemecha Ve'lo nevosh Ve'lo nikalem Ve'lo nikasher Le'olam ba'en Ki v'ashem kodshecha Hagadol ve'anora b'atachton Nagila v'nismecha Nagila שמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך ויחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You can be seated if you'd like, if you're standing. 116. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך וקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. 122. מי כמוך.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, La 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 la. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות וספלת, נורא תהילות וספלת. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך צחוק ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל,
I'd like to rise for
ופתחנו ממך, יחודה בישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Page 124, the Amidah. Please rise if you're not.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiyagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Yanana, El Elyon, Gomel Chazadim Tovim וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ביהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. Page 128. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עבר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך
130.
בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We take a moment of our own personal private prayer before we come together on page 142, coming out of our silence in a few moments. My God, guard my speech from evil and my lips from deception. For the land and your own, my tongue, practicing my heart to you, may pursue the Page 142. Sim Shalom. Or
140.
140.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. 140 Sim Shalom.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה. לה 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 לה. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברכנו יוצרנו כולנו כאחד, כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 לה. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך, לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. לה 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 לה. La 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 המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
We close the Amidah with Oseh Shalom at the bottom of 142.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we now have arrived. It's so cold in the sanctuary.
Very cold.
Someone needs to figure out how to get some heat on in here. I trust, though, I'm happy for all of you that you're not cold. But if you were here, it might be warmer in this room. So too bad for us.
Rabbi, I'm guessing that most of our attendees are warm and cozy and in their PJs with a cup of cocoa.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Or kofefe, whatever.
That is a good thing. We're going to now begin our Torah service, and we'll get to hear our Torah chanters. First Alex Kazam, and then Cam Cooper, and then Jen Still Schiff, and then Adam and Lori Beth Schwartz. Adam Still Schiff, and then Lori Beth Schwartz, and then so that's what's up. The Torah service is on page 244. Ein Kamocha.
אין כמוך ואליהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אב הרחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון, תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. Page 248. ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Menorah Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, Uleromema Shemo Yachdav. Hit it, Stu.
Hit it.
Lecha Adonai HaGedol VeHaGevora VeHaTiveret VeHaNetzach VeHaHor Kichol Bashamayim Uvaretz Kichol Bashamayim Uvaretz אצלך אדוני הממלכה וימית נעשה לכל ראש על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים העולם עומד על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים העולם עומד על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב ולא ילמדו עוד מלחמה לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב ולא ילמדו עוד מלחמה לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב ולא ילמדו עוד מלחמה רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו
Awesome. Okay. What? Okay, so we're going to begin our Torah chanting for, was Alex there? Is Alex around? Stu, do you know? Have you seen Alex? I've not.
I'm here.
Oh, yay, Alex. Yay, awesome. Okay, we're going to be chanting from chapter 12. Alex will. First couple verses of chapter 12. And let's see. Your mom and dad are around?
I don't think so.
You know what? Oh, that's my fault. Okay. All right, we're gonna do the aliyah for these verses from here, Alex. You know what? I think I meant to ask your mom and dad to do the blessing, but I totally forgot to send them that email. Anyway, it's okay. They'll forgive me. I hope. All right. So we're going to offer the blessing, and Alex is going to be reading from chapter 12 of Genesis, as we said, and we'll start with the blessing. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol amim v'natan lanu et torato baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. Go for it, Alex. Vayomer. Are you muted? Stu, are you there?
Unmute yourself.
Vayomer Adonai el Avraham lech leham me'aretzecha umimoledetecha umveit avicha el haaretz asher areka ve'escha legoy gadol va'arvirechecha va'agdla shemecha ve'hayei bracha.
Awesome, Alex. That was amazing. I love that. The Makes you feel so good as a teacher. Beautifully done. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. That's fantastic, Alex. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, for the second Aliyah, it's Cam and Jen. And we're going to have Cam, your sister and your mom, maybe your dad too, will offer the blessing for the Aliyah.
What page is it on?
It's on page 250.
Okay.
I like the background, Cam.
Thank you. Yeah.
It looks warm, unlike this sanctuary, which is not warm.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayikach Avram et Sarai ishto v'et Lot ben achiv v'et kol rechusham asher rachashu v'et hanefesh asher asu v'charan vayetzu lalechet arza Kanaan vayavo'u arza Kanaan vayavor Avram Ba'aretz ad mikom Shechem ad Elon Moreh v'hakna'ani az ba'aretz.
Beautiful, beautiful. Jen?
Baruch atah Adonai.
Oh, hold up. Jen's
Hold
gonna
on,
go
guys.
next.
Jen, you're up.
Okay, verse 7, right? Hold on one second. Vayera Adonai el Avram Vayomer. It just moved. Hold on, it just moved. Hold on. Vayomer Lazaracha Eiten et haaretz hazot Laivein sham mizbeach Adonai hanireh elav. Vayatek misham hahara mikedem lavetel vayet ha'alo Beth-El mayam vayakedem vayibin sham mizbeach l'Adonai vayikra b'shem Adonai.
Okay. Vayikra b'shem Adonai. Awesome. Okay.
Melanie and Molly.
Exactly. Blessing.
Blessing afterwards.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now for our third and last Aliyah, we call up Adam is going to be the first reader and Lori Beth second. And the Oleh, the Mivarech, as it were, it's going to be Len. Len, or
Is he in the room? Is he nearby?
there?
There he is. I recognize the goatee. Yes.
Jen, I don't know. We don't hear you.
Yeah, it was muted. Okay, we got it. Hold on.
Oh, I like the goatee, Len. That's good.
Thank you.
You're up.
No.
Come on, come sit.
Baruch? Yeah.
Blessing.
Baruch et Adonai no.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Elohim Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu. No, my gosh, no.
Asher Bachar Banu.
Banu. Mikol Hamam. V'ham Amim V'in.
Natan.
Ed Horato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. No worries. Stay there. Don't go too far. Adam. Oh yeah, Adam's good.
Musical chairs.
Uh,
Or chair in this case.
Go for it, Adam. Vayisa.
Avram Haloch V'Nasoa Alekba Vayhi Ra'av Aretz Vayirev Ram
Avraham.
Mitzrayma Lagur Sham Ki Chaved Harav Ba'aretz.
Glory Beth.
Great. Ki chaved harav. Oh, no. That's not. Lori Beth.
Lori
It's not you.
Beth.
It's Lori Beth. Oops.
All right. Hello.
Yay, Callie. Awesome.
Vayehi kasher hekriv labo mitzrayma vayomer el sarai ishto hinena yadati ki isha yifat mare at vehaya ki yiru otaf hamitzrayim v'amru ishto zot V'hargu oti ve'otach yichayu.
Beautiful. Lori Beth. Okay.
I guess
and
I'm
now,
not. I thought these guys were doing it.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Do it.
David's doing the prayer for the nation.
Oh,
Go on, Lynn.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chai olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay. Nicely done. Okay. And now we're going to do the prayer for the community. Doug and Jill. On page 258. Hello, Jill and Doug.
Hi. Actually, Amanda's doing this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I
Excellent.
forgot. That's right. You guys are, I forgot.
Excellent.
Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
Go for it. 258, top of the page.
Okay. So I read the English also. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us. Love of Torah, devotion and prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadha b'yira nabod.
Amen. Thank you so much, Amanda. And now, David and Callie, if you want to, the two prayers at the bottom of the page for our second half of the page, 258 for our country.
okay.
Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and unite the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wrench poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. And before I say amen, everybody should go out and vote this week. Amen.
Amen.
Amen to that, David. Amen for that. Very grateful for you to add that that instruction. It's such an incredible moment for this nation, wherever one is on the political spectrum. It's so crucial to really take in and internalize these messages from our sacred tradition about citizenship and obligation and caring for each and every human being, doing our part.
It's a sacred act.
A sacred act.
A holy
Absolutely.
act. And if you, whether or not you have voted already, the congregation is sending out tomorrow. You'll be receiving a prayer for voting. So you can actually recite a prayer for voting. Which is exciting.
And just as we offer our prayer for this congregation, our nation, certainly as I spoke about this last night, that we are last night and today observing the 25th anniversary of the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. We offer our prayer for Israel on page 259, Avinu Shebashamayim. The power and importance and need of our prayers is as great as ever. 259.
Avinu, 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 Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Barech, barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat geulateinu, Hagein aleha be'evrat chazdecha, Ufros aleha sukat shlomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Ushlach orecha ve'amitecha v'rashei asareya ve'yotzeya ve'yotzea v'taknem be'etza tova v'taknem be'etza tova milfanecha. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo. ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת העולם מלאי יושביה, ונאמר אמן. אבינו, אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו. אבינו, אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו.
Okay, so we're going to do one last thing before we ask Jill and Amanda to take over. We're going to raise the Torah and put it in the ark, and then it'll be we'll get to hear from the Maddenbergs. So, Stu, Galila, Hagba and Galila, Stu.
Okay. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה.
Great. Okay. I'm realizing that actually we did not offer a prayer for healing. I accidentally skipped that before the raising of the Torah. So we'll go from Amisha Berach, which is a prayer, the prayer for healing, and then Jill and Amanda, really what you're talking about is also so much about a healing of anxiety and worry and aspiration and goals. So before we come to you, let's just offer the Misha Berach. Send a name of a loved one who you're thinking about, if you'd like, in the text chat. We're on page 253. 253.
משברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Okay, Tara, will you please introduce our wonderful guests?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I am, I'll start just on a personal note. I remember meeting the Maddenbergs, like when we first arrived, it was like a meet and greet, someone's backyard in Kensington, I think. And I feel like we've been on a journey of being in community together for such a long time. It's really a precious thing to have the honor of introducing. So thank you, Mayor, for that. As I sit in Jerusalem, I'm thinking of our trip to Israel. And if you ever go on a trip, you really want to travel with Jill because she had everything. Like she had something to help my toothache, something for an asthma attack. She had everything. She's kind of, it's very symbolic. She's my go-to for a thoughtful opinion. And yeah, we just did the prayer for healing, someone who just fights for the health of her family and for the well-being of this world in so many ways. So first I'll do the formal little bio for Jill. Jill has worked in the college admissions field since 1993 as a high school guidance counselor, college admissions representative, and an independent college consultant. She's also a certified educational planner. Jill demystifies the college process for students and their parents to ease their anxiety, encouraging them to embrace their journey together. A nationally recognized college expert and co-author of Love the Journey to College, Jill has been interviewed for articles in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, 17 Magazine, USA Today, and has been featured on NPR, National Public Radio, as well as Fox News. She is a longtime member of many professional organizations and was trained at the Harvard Summer Institute on college admissions. She earned her master's degree in counseling and guidance at New York University. So that is Jill. Amanda, always mind-blowingly impressive. I'm just thinking of your bat mitzvah, which I think was a second ago, and then there was confirmation. And then I'm remembering also in particular your speech when we had our high school Hebrew High graduation. And in a way that I've never heard a young person do, you just basically got up there and lauded your parents and talked about what an incredible blessing it was to be their daughter. So it is always inspiring to watch you on your continued journey. So a little official words about you. You are a recent college graduate from Cornell. With your mom, you wrote Love the Journey to College as a senior in high school after you had completed the college admissions process. And you well remember, you're a little closer to it than some of us, what it is like to embark on that journey. You loved your college experience. I heard over and over again how just joyous that experience was for you. And you took many steps in high school to ensure that you were picking the place that was right for you. You participated in multiple counseling-related activities during college, including serving as a peer counselor and an admissions ambassador for the university. And currently you work as an SAT and ACT tutor while pursuing a master's degree in school counseling, following in your mama's footsteps at Teachers College in Columbia. So a very long drum roll. We can't wait to hear you. I'm so glad you're here this morning.
Thank you so much. I know, Tara, I love you so much, and I'm so happy to be on this journey with you. And it's particularly b'sher that we are doing it this weekend because this was Amanda's Torah portion 10 years ago. So it's been a decade since that bat mitzvah. We're going to talk a little bit about today, just not so much the specifics like SAT and ACT, although happy to answer questions about things like that later. We're going to talk more about the intangibles. 44% of students actually are saying right now that stress, anxiety, and loneliness is their biggest challenge this fall, right? And so the impact of the pandemic is such a huge presence in everybody's lives. And as for students out there and parents and grandparents out there, you know, as you have somebody who's continuing on a path towards college, I think mental health has to be our top priority right now. And thinking about how that fits into everything else, you know, kind of at the top of the list. One of the things that I'm asked a lot is about how to develop passions and interests, or even choosing a major, and how to uncover what you really care about when you don't know. Like, what do you do when you don't know? And I think that I've always said this, but now more than ever, you want to take a breath, you want to take a beat, and recognize that you don't have to have this all figured out. The average adult changes their career, not even their job, their career multiple times. Wow. And so kind of put that in perspective when you're thinking about your own high school journey. There's a recent study out of Stanford that says students today's students will change their jobs between 10 and 14 times before they're 38 years old. Only 27% of college graduates are working in the field of their major. Princeton doesn't even ask about what you want to major in. And I'm old school about this. I always have been, that, you go to college to get an education, to think critically, to learn how to write well. The job, and CEOs have confirmed this with me, the job stuff, aside from technical, right? Like not technical stuff, but mainstream jobs. Most jobs can be learned on the job if you know how to think well and you know how to write and you know how to speak. And so to think about not putting yourself in a situation where you feel like you have to have a certain major in order to get a certain job. There are exceptions to that, of course, but to kind of recognize that if only 27% of us are pursuing a field of our major, that should kind of help you. You should pursue things that you enjoy and that you love. Teenagers do not have to have this all figured out. Honestly, it worries me more when they think that they do. I really believe that high school and college, for that matter, is a period of growth and reflection and a journey of self-discovery. And I mean that wholeheartedly, even if it sounds cliche. Do what you enjoy. There's always a great place to start. I think that a lot of parents want like a formula, to kind of have this all figured out, what's the club, or, what's the instrument, or what's the sport, in order to get into a particular college. And I always joke with my students that, if you cure cancer, maybe now I would say if you cure COVID, I think that would be like your lock, right? Like that would be your into college. But beyond that, you want to do what you love. Recognizing that admissions is really not about students, it's about the institutional needs of colleges, because colleges are fundamentally businesses. And so if you can kind of recognize that and kind of get out of your own way and pursue what you love, you won't have a regret, no matter what the outcome is. There is not magic to getting into college. And I firmly believe that authenticity resonates in your life and will also resonate on college applications. So if you and your family are healthy, you want to take this time to think about a hobby. I have students right now that are cooking and playing guitar and helping an elderly neighbor. I can use our son as an example. For anybody who knows our family or knows Eric, knows that he is a huge baseball guy. He kind of came out that way with a baseball glove in his hand. And long before high school, when our kids were growing up, Doug and I always put an emphasis on community service. Doug and I met in high school through community service. And that was just a big part of our lives. And we talked about doing things that you love to help other people. So Eric would genuinely and organically just go and help special needs kids develop a passion for baseball, because he just loved baseball so much. This is just something that he was doing weekly. And one day he had like an interaction with a boy who he had kind of gotten to know, and he knew that this kid was really athletic, but he couldn't catch a ball. And Eric was throwing it, softly, and he could not catch it. And it dawned on Eric that this child that he was a lefty using a righty glove. And Eric came home that day and he said, I need to do something about like getting gloves into the hands of kids who want them and who can't, don't have access to them. And he developed this, little program basically that kind of took off. And he gave gloves, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gloves. He set up all these different collection boxes across Long Island, and then it grew through to different states. It even went to the Dominican Republic. I have a friend who helped run an orphanage, and the kids were playing, baseball with rubber bands. And so we, shipped gloves to, this orphanage. So, and then you think about the impact that Eric made, and he has, no regrets with that. So now he's in college and he's playing baseball. And so it was an organic process for him. And so I just think that it's not one magic thing. It's doing what you love, and maybe you need to figure out what that is, and that's okay. Kind of give yourself permission to do that. I'm mindful, I try to help families be mindful of, what they're doing and why they're doing it. And if you make thoughtful decisions, even if they end up being wrong, you can learn from them. And you can grow from them. I think making informed decisions is just kind of a good policy. And you want to make the best educated decisions you can, in your path throughout high school. Try not to focus on the destination of college, but rather really the journey and the impact that you can make along the way. But how do you deal with the uncertainty? And I think that that's something that we're all feeling right now, especially now for a lot of reasons. And I know it's way easier said than done, but you want to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Obviously, COVID is going to impact that. And even when we're talking about college applications, the process, admissibility, it's going to impact everything, but also recognize that there's not an admissions counselor in the country who doesn't recognize that we are all going through this, some more than others, some in different ways more than others, but it's okay because we're all being impacted in a way that we can understand that. Like if this was just happening locally in Great Neck, maybe an admissions counselor in California would not really understand, but that's not the case here. So I think if you can sit with and embrace the uncertainty, that is just a good policy. And I know that that's a really hard thing for me as well to do. I know families genuinely want answers. They want to be less worried. And I think one of the ways we all try to manage our anxiety is by trying to reduce it. But in this case, I think by seeking the answer to a nearly impossible question, because we don't have a resolution, we don't know when things are going to feel different. So sometimes, and this could be hard to kind of swallow, but sometimes a more realistic strategy is to increase our tolerance for the uncertain. And by realizing that we can live with not knowing, and it's hard for me too, I'm a planner, but I've kind of gotten comfortable with this. And I'm not saying that having more uncertainty is pleasant, but rather we can benefit by developing confidence in our resilience. And wouldn't that be a beautiful silver lining if, this generation of teenagers became more resilient? The bottom line is that whether next year's admissions process is impacted is going to be out of your control. And so focus on something that is in your control. Do something you love, develop a passion, and build a balanced college list. I think that the list may need a greater emphasis on likely schools. You can certainly, and I've always said that focusing on likely schools is something that's really important, I think now more than ever. But it's ultimately about a list that you love. If you think beyond the bumper sticker, from the thousands of colleges that we have in our country, and you find 10 that you're excited about, and you make sure that you can realistically get into 3 or 4 of them, you can, and I'm talking about on an academic, social, and financial level, you can certainly focus then on targets and reaches, but they might not pan out, especially now. So I think Amanda's experience and her journey to college and her personal experience with developing schools that she was excited about, that we knew she could get into, was part of the reason why she came up with the book and the title of Love the Journey. So I'm going to let Amanda take over now and tell you about her journey of self-discovery in this process and what she learned.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to kind of offer 4 pieces of advice, and I'll tell you what they are first, and then I'll go more into depth into each of them. So the first is kind of jumping off the point that my mom just made about having likely schools. The second is about kind of maintaining your own sanity and not necessarily sharing like your grades and ACT and SAT scores with the world because it's not necessary. The third point I'm going to make is how beneficial it is to start writing essays specifically, but just like more so the application process itself very early before the deadline. And also about how to maintain a sense of positivity and optimism, as I think that a lot of people find college applications very stressful and overwhelming when they don't entirely need to be. So regarding the importance of having likely schools, if I could give you like one most important piece of advice for my journey, it was the security of finding a handful of schools that I knew or thought based on my academic credentials that I could get into comfortably that I really, really, really love. A lot of times in high school, I heard people say things like, oh, well, I'm just applying to this school because like everyone's applying to it, but like they didn't really want to go there. And I just always thought that was kind of silly because like, why would you apply to a school if you don't want to go? Like you should only have schools on your list that you would actually like to attend, because then every place you get into feels like a success instead of just maybe like the one top school on your list. Like I feel like because there are thousands of colleges, there's got to be at least 10 or 15 that you really love and would actually want to go to. And so instead of applying to the schools that everyone applies to, maybe apply to the schools that actually make sense for you individually, because that's different for everyone. So on my second point about not like sharing with everyone about your, SAT and ACT scores and GPA, I remember like one of my least favorite aspects of high school, and I really liked high school, so this is like probably one of my only least favorite aspects of high school, was in the weeks leading up to college applications, I guess, or college deadlines, everyone just asking each other like, oh, like where are you applying, or like what did you get on this test, or just like I felt it was so competitive. And certainly that's different in every high school and depending on what classes you take maybe, or there's a lot of factors that go into that. And I found that something that helped me was just to offer myself as a friend to people who needed to vent about their scores or specifics, but then just like choose not to share my own, because I didn't really want to get caught up in the scene of like people gossiping about like who has what. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Like it's your own private matter and you don't have to share with people you don't want to. And I think that there's like a pressure to have to contribute to a group conversation, especially when like that's all people talk about in the weeks leading up to college admissions and their deadlines. So I just found sanity in kind of like keeping that to myself and my parents and like maybe an outside friend from school that wasn't involved in that scene. I thought that was really helpful. I would also say that it's super important to start the process early, as early as possible. I was away working at a sleepaway camp the summer before my senior year in high school. And so I didn't start on August 1st when the Common App usually releases the next year's essay prompts. But when I got home, as my parents will attest, I sat at our kitchen table for I think maybe 10 days. It might have been a few days longer than that, but I just like cranked out essay after essay after essay. And then I was like done. Before I started senior year of high school, I was done. My mom's giving me a thumbs up. I was done with that entire process of writing all the essays. And I mean, not everyone can sit still for that amount of time. And so you have to do what works well for you. But I would just emphasize the benefit of starting early to reduce the stress that can come with like the looming deadline. Like you totally have control over that part of this process, unlike many parts of this process where you don't have control necessarily over the admissions decision. You do have control over like, will you feel stressed about the deadline or will you not? Because if you choose to start early enough, you just won't have that stress. So that is something you can do to minimize kind of stressful feelings and encourage positive ones. And then on that note, just maintaining optimism and positivity. I think that you just have to get in the mindset of you're going to end up in a place that makes sense for you if you apply to schools that you know you will love. So if you have a list of schools and you apply to all of them, each of those admissions decisions that are acceptances should feel like a success. And even if it's not the number one, whatever that is, try to get in the mindset of thinking of like, there is no right one, there's a right 15, and whatever school of those that you end up at, you will make it the right one for you, because ultimately your college experience, and I can say this now having been through college and not only applying to it, your college experience is really what you make of it and not at all where you go. Because I know from meeting very, very different kinds of people in college that it really is about how you approach it, the kinds of clubs you join, the classes you choose to take, and most importantly, I would say the friends that you make there that really make the experience rather than whatever it's called, because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So yeah, that's my piece. Thanks.
Love that. All right. And it was, first of all, thank you, Amanda and Jill. So rich and meaningful. Amanda, to see, I don't know, just to kind of kfel as someone who cares so deeply about you and your family, and who has played a small part, very small part, but a very caring part of your journey. Just the pride that your mom and dad obviously feel, and we all do. And to be able to convey all of this fairly complicated stuff and it's so accessible and pieces that are easy to take in. It's, I don't know, just beautiful to be your student, Amanda, to be your student, to watch you, feel the way you command a conversation and this kind of a setting. Before I want to say a couple other things, but for everyone who's listening, if you have questions for Amanda or Jill, feel free to send them into the chat. And also there will be an open opportunity to be in conversation with them as soon as we're done, which will be in, 10 minutes or so. I want to, Jill, when you were speaking, actually a number of things you said really connected so directly to the Torah portion. I'm just going to touch on 3. You spoke about uncertainty. I mean, you both did, but for some reason I was focusing in this way when you were speaking, Jill. You spoke about uncertainty and the possibility and the aspiration of increasing our tolerance for uncertainty, which in this world feels so profoundly relevant. And it struck me that in the opening verse of the Parsha that Amanda chanted for her bat mitzvah, God says, Lech lecha, go to a land that I will show you. Alex chanted it wonderfully this morning. Go to a land that I will show you. Abraham really didn't know where this was. He didn't know. And there was kind of, I'm guessing, an enormous amount of uncertainty in the moment of deciding, do I not? And he, I guess, he heard your voice, Jill, like whispering to him, wait, let me try to raise up my tolerance for uncertainty because I feel like there's something that I want to pursue. That's one thought. Second of all, when God says to Abraham, go, he says, v'heyeh bracha, and be a blessing. So I love this story that you told, Jill, about Eric. And he figured out that this boy, he didn't have a glove. He's left-handed. All he had was a right-handed glove. It's such a beautiful story about how a young person sees in a very practical way, I can be a blessing in someone else's life. And it's so small. This boy probably only is a little bit better at catching it, but it was so massive. So massive. It's a profoundly, a beautiful way of being a bracha. Living a life in which we're trying to be a blessing for others. Lastly, you spoke about authenticity. And ultimately in the college journey, and I'm sure you said this, I know I think it all the time, in the life journey, there may not be a single challenge and goal and more meaningful, more important than our own authenticity, feeling comfortable with ourselves and trusting, respecting, honoring ourselves enough to be real. And that really is the first 2 words of the Parsha, Lech Lecha. Literally, or often it's translated as go, like really go. Lech means go. But the literal meaning of these 2 words is go, lech, lecha, to yourself. Go to yourself. Go to your inner passion, your inner truth, your inner journey, your inner questions, your deepest that. And so I think the Parsha, if it's anything, it's about each of us striving to be our authentic selves. So it's with great gratitude and admiration that I add my thoughts to Tara's introduction, thanking you and feeling grateful for our friendship and for all that you all have created. Famous authors, we're all in the midst of famous authors. May your next book be wonderful as well. Okay. I think now we're about to close. We'll offer Aleinu, and then Mourner's Kaddish and Oseh Shalom, and Doug and Jill, you'll offer Kiddush and Motzi, and we'll be done. Okay, so 282 Aleinu l'Shabeach. Aleinu l'Shabeach l'Adon HaKol.
ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורר עלינו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
287
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יחיה אדוני אחד ושמו
And we always remember loved ones before concluding. If you want to send in the chat the name of a loved one you're thinking about, please feel free to do so. We remember and laid to rest in the last 30 days Patricia Friedman, and also the Yortzeit of Rose Adelberg, Phoebe Abelo, Minerva Druxerman and David Fried, Molly Galasco, Robert Kagan, Corrine Kreutzer, and Abraham Lulav, Yitzhak Rabin, the 25th anniversary of his passing, Sylvia Reisman, and Alice Shapiro, Isaac Zimmerman, and of course the victims as well of the Tree of Life shooting in Pittsburgh now 2 years ago. For all of us who are remembering someone, anyone else, anyone who a loved one of yours, we can rise if you'd like on page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal, Yitkadash Shemir Abba.
Amen.
B'yalma divrachu te v'yamlich malchute. V'chayachon of yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael bagalav izman kariv v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam u'omei almaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'miran b'yalma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Okay, I put a highlighter and agree with all the wonderful comments being offered for thanking you, Amanda and Jill. I want to make one announcement. There's so much going on here at Beth-El. You know, check your emails before I ask Doug and Jill to offer Kiddush and Motzi. I just want to mention that we just decided this, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, Tara and Adam and I, that next Saturday night, not tonight, next Saturday night, it'll be the 7th, we're going to have a virtual healing Havdalah service, Hope Healing Havdalah. God willing, the country will be peaceful. But it occurred to us that maybe we'll all know who the next president will be. Maybe we won't. But whatever the answer to that question is, our prayers it will be a time of peace and constructive transformation, whatever that means. And so it'll be from 5 p.m. next Saturday to 5:45. We'll begin at 5 p.m. sundown. It'll be dark by 5:30 or so. We'll begin Havdalah right around 5:30, 5:35, and be done 5:45. So, Cantor Adam, thank you so much. Your beautiful voice, your beautiful soul, along with your Chavruta Shai on the Psanter. You're always helping us to soar, dear Shai. And we offer Kiddush on page 300. Doug, you were pretty quiet, but you have a lot to be proud of. I'm guessing you deserve a little bit of the credit.
It's a group effort. You do, Tara does, everybody does.
Okay, amen. All right, we're on page 300, right? Is that true? Yes. Kiddush. Is that what we're doing? Yes.
Ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Actually, can we we'll go back, do Vishamru, and then we'll do it again.
Okay.
Vishamru.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat לעשות את השבת בדורות הברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת בדורות הברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם, עוד כי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת בדורות הברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
One more time, Doug. One more time. Baruch atah Adonai. Same thing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Take a drink. Take a drink. Before we offer motzi, I want to thank our Torah readers, Alex Kazam, Cam Cooper, Jen Stilschiff, Adam Stilschiff, and Lori Beth Schwartz. Thank you all so much.
Great job.
You chanted beautifully,
chanted.
and it's grateful. And to Cantor Adam for preparing all your materials.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay. Motzi, Doug, or Jill, whomever.
Both of us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Okay. Eat some challah, and we'll close.
Gluten-free challah.
Or whatever. Oh, right. Yeah, gluten-free. Exactly.
Gluten-free challah.
Important. Adon Olam Cantor.
Sure, sounds good.
321.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ויגנצה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשילו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חבלי ביצרה והוא ניסי ומנוסני מנת כוסי ביום מקרא בידו אבקיד רוחי והייתי אישן ויעירה ועם רוחי גבייתי אדוני לי
So first of all, Shabbat Shalom. Stu, are you there? We're wondering about, Jill, you can't unmute yourself or you can?
I can.
Oh, you can?
I
Oh,
can, but I
thought-
just wanted for after the service, like I want to be able to answer the questions after the service. Is that okay to stay on and?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. That's the plan, the idea.
We want that.
Okay, good.
Okay. So Shabbat Shalom all. Thank you a ton. And any Q&A or conversation with Jill or Amanda, go to it.